Good evening, everybody. It's 5:31 on Monday, June 16th, and we will call this Twin Sault Joint Commission meeting to order. Could we have a roll call for the Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan City Commission, please?
Mayor Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Baspis-Rath.
Here.
Commissioner Habusta.
Here.
Commissioner Marble.
Here.
Commissioner Rubenstein.
Here.
Commissioner Talentino.
Commissioner Talentino sent his regrets. He's working in Manistee, which is a couple hours west of here, and he was here for an earlier meeting and had to run back, but he said hello and sorry he couldn't be here. So we need a motion to excuse, please.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and support. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
He is excused.
Roll call is not part of our procedure, but we'll do one in
Okay.
any event. Councilor Bruni. Councilor Dufour. Councilor Vezo-Allen. Councilor Spina. Councilor Zagordo. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And from the Sault, Ontario side of things, we'll begin our meeting in a good way as we do by acknowledging that we're in the traditional Anishinaabe territory of Batchewana First Nation, Garden River First Nation, the Sioux Tribe, Bay Mills, and the Métis Nation, the seat of the Métis Nation of Ontario. So thank you to our First Nation partners who have been good stewards of our land since time immemorial.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, and welcome to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. It's always a pleasure to have our shared meeting with you, and it's a privilege to have it in this year in our commission chambers. This meeting is about relationships, camaraderie, and a bond that transcends borders and politics. Those bonds run deep and have for decades and even centuries. We share the same name, we drink the same water, we breathe the same air, and we're friends, we're neighbors, and many of us are families. We've stood together through terrible things like wars, the positive construction of the International Bridge to more closely tie us together, celebrated together at countless festivals and ceremonies, supported each other through natural disasters and economic downturns. Our children play hockey against each other and then share meals together, or in my case, my child plays for Canada and plays against her U.S. friends. And our businesses depend on each other, and as I said, our families often span both sides of the river. We do, and we will always face challenges in the future, but we also have and we will weather each storm. We are all here together to represent the true partnership looks like, the daily work of neighbors helping neighbors, community to community, and remaining friends, even when events out of our control seemingly try to pull us apart. I know we both love our respective countries. Like you, when we take our office, we take an oath to promise to protect and defend the Constitution of our country, our state, and of our city. But through our service, we represent directly, in a nonpartisan manner, only the citizens of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. We have absolutely no direct control over the other 1,700 local units of government in Michigan, or the state, or the federal government of the United States. Media doesn't make policy, so we have and we will continue to advocate for fair federal trade practices between our countries with those that do, our elected representatives, and we have educated them on the real-life impacts of the policies on all of us together. Your mayor has been an effective advocate for your community, your province, and your country, and he and I have also met with our elected federal representative, Jack Bergman, to discuss issues of importance. From our city level, we do continuously advocate to our representatives at all levels In addition, we also have provided information and insight to our collective advocacy groups for their lobbying efforts within the state and federal representatives. We will continue to support our relationship. I was at a funeral today, and I thought the words were a little bit apropos. Life is finite. We don't know if we will have it tomorrow. Move forward, let things go, and enjoy your relationships like it is your last day. On behalf of this community, I want you and all of your citizens to know you are always welcome in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gary, and members of the City Commission. Thank you to members of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario City Council for joining us under much more difficult circumstances than what we've met in the past, under which we've met in the past. Since coming to this office, Mayor Gary, you'll know I was committed to reviving the cross-border friendship that had suffered for years because of the 2018 tariff dispute and the 2020-2021 COVID border closure. We hit the ground running, and we've met as a joint council twice for business meetings, 3 times for holiday gatherings, and today our 3rd business meeting. Despite those challenges, however, today we meet in what may be our most challenging circumstances. But despite those challenges, I believe it was important to hold this meeting to reaffirm long-standing friendships between our communities, a friendship forged over more than a century of shared history, common purpose, and mutual respect. The recent increase in steel tariffs by the federal administration in Washington, which are now at 50%, has placed a heavy burden on Sault, Ontario. Our 120-year-old major employer, Algoma Steel, is not just our primary employer, but steel workers are the backbone of our local economy. These tariffs threaten the livelihoods of thousands of steelworkers and their families. Jobs are being lost. Incomes that once supported not only Canadian households, but businesses in Sault, Michigan and throughout Michigan are at risk. This dispute over steel tariffs has created real disagreements between our nations, but I want to make clear that it has not created a division between our peoples. The bonds that Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and Michigan hold are stronger than politics. Our shared economy, family, and our friendships cross the border every single day. Canadian steelworker wages are spent in your shops, your restaurants, your tourist destinations, and in turn, we rely on U.S. iron ore, the flow of coal through the locks, and across our shared river. Francis Clergue, the industrial founder of our community, founded not just our Canadian steel mill, but your beautiful hydroelectric dam that Canadians gaze at from our waterfront. Thanks to your efforts, Mayor Gary, we have we have continually lobbied the U.S. Congress, and I urge you to continue to do your advocacy with the community partners, state partners, and federal partners that you encounter on our behalf, because what will truly change the mind of the American administration in Washington is the American voting public and American legislators lobbying them, not Canadians doing so. But we come here to work with you, to urge you to support the cause of reduced tariffs and to help both of our economies. So I know that in yourself, Mayor Gary, and the City Commission, we have strong partners who want to see a quick return to policies that strengthen this shared region we all call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You can see the generational difference, I guess. He has it in digital format, and I had to have it in paper, so. Would have been cooler if you had it on your phone.
I'm not that young.
So next, we'll introduce Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan City Manager Brian Chapman, and he will, oh wait, I forgot to introduce our City Commission. All right, so if you want to go around and introduce yourselves, I guess we did a roll call, but I think it's better that way.
Ani Bojo, Jody Bospis Rath.
Andrew Rubenstein.
Ray Bauer.
All right, now we'll go to City Manager Brian Chapman to introduce any city personnel in attendance. Thank you.
All right, I'll introduce staff. You guys want to stand up and give a wave real quick. Fire Chief Ed Miller. Sorry about that. Economic Development Specialist, Nikki Radke. Community Development Director, Kelly Freeman. Police Chief, Wes Bierling. The white shirts are messing me up. Wastewater Treatment Director, Brian Masterson. City Engineer, David Boyle. Engineer, Morgan Kelly. Project Specialist, Taryn Horton. Public Services Director, Tyler Perrin. Austin Derenberger doesn't work for me. And last but not least, Deputy City Manager, Robin Troyer. Oh, and IT's in the back. I wrote that down not to forget. Our IT Director, Bonnie Raphael's in the back. You want to wave, Bonnie? Thank you. Amazing. Thank you, Bonnie. And that is all.
And he did it all without notes. Nice.
We've had a couple of counselors join us since the opening, so I'll just have council, starting with Councilor Bruni, introduce themselves and their ward.
Sandra Hollingsworth, Councilor for Ward 1 in Sault Ste. Marie. Nice to meet you. Luke Dufort, Councilor for Ward 2 in Sault Ste. Marie. Lisa Bezo Allen, Councilor Ward 2 in Sault Ste. Marie. Sunny Span, Councilor Ward 1 in Sault Ste. Marie. Ron Zagordo, Councilor Ward 3 in Sault Ste. Marie. Matt Scott, Councilor for Ward 5.
And we can turn it over to Tom Vare, our Chief Administrative Officer, to introduce the city staff who are here.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. We have Brent Lamming, our Deputy CAO, Community Development and Enterprise Services, Cara O'Neill, our Director of Engineering, Susan Hamilton Beach, our Director of Public Works and Engineering Services, Melanie Borowitz-Sibinek, our Assistant City Solicitor. We have Peter Johnson, our Fire Chief, Travis Anderson, our Director of Community Development and Tourism, and Rachel Tzinski, our City Clerk.
Thank you very much. So we will move into B, special orders of business. Number one is Sault, Ontario, so I'll turn it over to Mayor Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mayor. We've got an update on our waterfront development master plan. I see we've got our Director of Community Development, Travis Anderson, here. I know you've got another aspect to your title, and it's tourism, of course. There we go, tourism and community development. And so I'll turn the floor over to him to help enlighten us.
Oh, okay, cool.
There we go.
All right. So I'm going to speak about the updates to the waterfront design plan, but I'm going to take a very brief opportunity as the Director of Tourism. I lived in Michigan, Port Huron, and Marquette for 2 years prior to moving back to Sault Ste. Marie. Absolutely loved Michigan and loved the people of Michigan. As a community and certainly as an individual that welcomes tourists, we still hold that very strong. We are known as the most friendly community in Algoma, and I'd certainly love to continue to extend our friendship and our welcoming to Sault Ste. Marie. So please come visit. You're all friends and family to us, and we love to host. So, do you want me to run that? Or? Oh, cool. Okay. It's 24 slides, but I'm gonna go rapid fire. So, our waterfront design plan encompasses, and I'll get you to go to this slide. When we did our waterfront design plan, we looked at the full span of our waterfront from the Canal District all the way to our former hospital sites. The plan that we looked at was really how do we elevate our waterfront. We've got a fantastic waterfront currently, but I think we all look over to this side somewhat enviously because of the amount of commerce and opportunity that you have here. So we wanted to take a solid look at ours and see, what could be done from both a tourism perspective as well as a community development perspective, as we know that it's a great way to attract new residents as well as retain those that we have. So you can flip to the next one, please. So part of the reason why we did this plan is we know that there's a significant value in terms of tourism. It's been recognized through many studies that a vibrant waterfront with retail opportunities, dining, and the ability to retain tourists for longer can increase spending by up to 30%. We know that these revenue investments also increase property values, and as mentioned, has a great opportunity to attract and retain residents. You can go to the next slide, please. So, I'm just going to talk. So with respect to public outreach, I mean, it was a very well-engaged plan. We reached out to over 900 individuals that responded to our surveys as well as our open houses. And based on my experience with other exciting projects, this was by far the highest level of engagement that we had within the community. I think people are very excited about the waterfront and what it can bring. So it was great to see. I'll get you to go next slide. I'll let you keep going to the next one and the next one. And I'll keep going and I'll explain that. And the next one. Just keep going. So you can stop right here. So I'll explain. So when we did our surveys and public input, which is kind of relating to the graphs that you didn't see, what we had in terms of feedback was that the bulk of our residents really wanted to see an opportunity to come down on the waterfront, really spend some serious time down there, have the opportunity to go down and actually touch the water, have some recreational activities, also participate in concerts and festivals, and again, huge interest in retail and commerce. So what some of the key kind of big ideas that came out of it was a continual waterfront promenade. So a very expansive waterfront where you could walk through. There would be the opportunity to set up seasonal retailers, including some of the winter retailers and you know, food services around our skating trail. Swimming, for those of you that were at the last time I presented, you know, we discussed that in depth, was a huge issue, or huge interest, and a large, what we're calling a destination play space. And for those of you, I don't know how many people are familiar with the Ralph C. Wilson waterfront development in Detroit, but very comparable to that with very large play structures, 30 plus feet long. And then cantilevered outlook. We, again, are very envious of your ability to get up close and personal with the freighters. That's still a huge interest on the Canadian side, even though it's farther away. So cantilevered outlook was one of the items that came up. I'll get you to go to the next slide, please. So we'll just keep going. So you can see in this picture, what we've done is we've attempted to make a long, you know, consistent, call it a linear park, with a core area in terms of what we focused on, despite the fact that we did it from the Canal District to the old hospital site. The first phase was really diving down into the properties that we owned. So the Bondar Pavilion, the area around City Hall, Clerk Park, as well as you know, another area that we're hopefully we'll have the opportunity to obtain sometime in the future, which is the Suncor site, which is directly beside the Bush Plain Greenfield site, Brownfield site right now. I'll get you to the next slide, please. In addition to the waterfront, the other really important factor for us is we have been investing heavily in our downtown over the past number of years. So we wanted to make sure that there was a seamless integration between our waterfront and the downtown because of the efforts that we're making and really trying to elevate Queen Street and as well as support commerce in one of our most important economic areas. So we, through the plan, we really looked at design concepts that would allow people to either walk very seamlessly from the waterfront, you know, be able to get to those commerce locations and back. So we looked at the concept of both complete streets, which really allow for a lot of active transportation as well as beautification, and then what we term WUNRFs, which is essentially a pedestrian street. You're still able to drive on it, but it feels intimidating as a driver. It's more comfortable walking, and through those you would, you know, you'd have your you know, whether it's food trucks, seasonal retail, you know, artisan kind of areas where you could just meander through and investigate and hopefully spend some money. We'll keep going to the next one, please. So this is just an example of what a complete street would look like, which are the top two images and the one on the bottom on the left. And then the WUNRFs are the ones where you see little to no curb, kind of cobblestone, and people walking right down the center, but you still, as mentioned, can drive. Get you to go to the next one, please. So this is just kind of looking at some of the programming that we're trying to do. When we look at the waterfront, a huge asset for us right now is Rotary Fest, which happens in July. Takes over Clerk Park. We get several thousand people down there. Rotary does a phenomenal job in terms of concerts. They have Rib Fest, hugely popular throughout Sault Ste. Marie. So we are looking to expand upon that, where we would have plans for additional cultural festivals, as well as music concerts and just general activities to bring more people down to the waterfront. Get you go to the next one. And because we are a winter community, we're also looking at how we go about activating this area in the winter. Bonsu has kind of had a resurgence over the past few years, starting to get back to what it was in the late 80s, early 90s. Again, Clerk Park is an excellent area for that. We've got it kind of anchored right now in the Canal District, as well as our downtown plaza, but certainly the opportunity to expand it there. Our skating trail is incredibly popular with our residents, so we would be looking at, how could we activate that? You could potentially have maple syrup shacks, cider, potentially building out, like perhaps a little seasonal Christmas market, et cetera. So we'll just go to the next one, please. So here's kind of a more focused vision. This is the area that we're really hoping to focus on initially, which is the Clerk Park area, which you can actually see directly across the shore from us, as well as there's some secondary elements that we're not going to tackle right away, which is some public space in and around City Hall. So we'll keep going, please. So this is some of the public activation that we're hoping to do around City Hall. Not sure if you guys have similar issues, but our City Hall is public land, but it feels very much like private land. So we would be looking at some point in the future of trying to open that up and make sure that people feel welcome to come in and around City Hall and enjoy the water there. We'll keep going to the next one, please. We're looking at directly adjacent to City Hall is actually a slip called was the former A.B. McLean slip, which is actually a Sault, Michigan resident. And what we're looking at doing is eventually converting that into a kind of a slip where we would be able to both put in our kayaks, canoes, as well as reclaiming some of it, to add fish habitat and help, our very important ecological corridor here. I'll let you go to the next one, please. And some of the big items that we are currently focusing on, so we term this phase one, would be the redevelopment of the shoreline in Clerk Park. To the right, you've got a development at the art gallery. They are going through a feasibility study right now and hopefully expanding and improving that facility. Directly adjacent to it is the destination playground. We'll have some examples of that shortly. If you're curious about it, Pier 26 in New York City has a prime example. They've got a massive sturgeon, as well as I believe a sea bass. They're over 30 feet long. They would be visible from Sault, Michigan. They've also got some educational components, and they kind of mirror public art, which is a nice alignment for the art gallery. Directly to the left of that is our urban beach, which is another great initiative for the community, and then we've got our floating pool. We'll keep going. So here's some precedent images of the urban beach, and I'll let you go to the next one. The river pool, we've actually been able to find a model in Ontario, just on the border with Quebec, in Ottawa. So we'd be looking at a large floating pool that would go out into the waterway. It's similar to a dock-like system, so you'd remove it on an annual basis. It would be flow-through water, it's the one in Ottawa is quite large. It's, gotta do the math. So it'd be like 90 feet by 90 feet. It's just converting metric to imperial. So it's a beautiful opportunity, and then the decking's quite large, so you're able to put on Muskoka chairs, sunbathe, and just enjoy it overall. And then we'll go to the next one. And this could be an example of some of the play equipment that you see. The items that they have in New York, as mentioned, are quite large, but you can climb inside. There's giant slides coming out of the back of the sturgeon tail, and just phenomenal. These assets, the reason why we're doing these, and I've spoken about the interest in commerce and retail, is these are proven to be our best bet to draw people to the waterfront, and we need those volume of people before we activate the retail. So it's kind of build it and they will come. And the destination playground, based on the uniqueness of it, as well as the complementary beach and pool, we know will draw large masses to the area. Everybody from the community, everybody that's kind of visiting the community, these will be huge appeals. And I believe that's it.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan Commission?
So Ontario Council? We had it presented to us 2 weeks ago, so there's
Okay.
lots of questions
Better
at
not
the
be.
time. Thanks, Travis.
So we'll move on into item 2 in the special orders of business, and I'll turn it over to Brian Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next is a presentation from Coucil Alberici trailer. And the United States Army Corps of Engineers, we have Rachel Miller with us and Allison Dernberg, and they're going to give an update on our favorite construction projects going on right now, the new locks job. Take it away.
If I speak loudly enough, can I stay away from the mic? Am I okay here? Sorry, Brian, I'm right behind you.
Sure.
All right, I think it was about
Will the mic
Here.
go up there?
No, here you can.
Okay.
Thank you.
No worries. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to give a very brief update on the project. I know there's a lot of interest in the local community, so people pretty much stay up to date with what's going on in the project. We do have some, I guess, kind of breaking news today. We were able to award the last 3 options as part of our contract, so we are now fully awarded for the new lock contract for the new lock at the Sioux. So that's very exciting news, at least for me, for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, right? Because we've got it all out there, and right now we're still looking at, we say 2030, we're going to have boats locking through the new lock. So it's an exciting day, and I know that there was a lot of work that went into getting that funding where it needed to be in order for us to execute. So just very briefly, I've got 2 pictures that I want to show you, and the first one is where we were this time last year. Just to orient you, if you're able to see my cursor, we're looking at the locks facility, and this was the Davis lock, and this was the Sabin lock. X out of teams. We've got the hydropower plant here, and really where we were last summer, we had just dewatered. So a lot of work in the early stages of the new lock contract went into stabilizing the structures and getting ready and setting a cofferdam in place. So this was really before we really went to work on that dewatered work area. And then this photo was taken a little over a week ago, so June 8th. And you can really see that the Sabin lock, which was over 100 years old, it's for all intents and purposes, it's gone. It's demolished. It is now a hole in the ground, which is where we want to be, because we want to be able to build a new lock. And in order to build new there, we've got to get the old lock out of the way. So that's a really exciting development. And then the Davis, you can see here to the south, is actually being filled in with material. So that's going to be permanent. It's not getting demolished. It's basically just getting filled in. So that new lock, you can actually see there's new concrete being placed along this south wall, and then you can also see some of the cutouts from the rock excavation that's currently going on. So Coucil and Alberici Trailer, our contractor partners have been working very hard. I know they're probably seeing their largest workforce this summer to date, some of the most work to date. I do want to acknowledge that construction projects tend to be messy. They tend to be inconvenient for the communities around them, but I really appreciate the support that we get on a day-to-day basis. I do acknowledge, it is a shared river. You all breathe the air off of our project site. You hear the noise, certainly, I think better than we do in Michigan. And I really acknowledge that one of the things that is really important on a day-to-day basis for me and for our team is to try to get this done on time, within budget, safely, but also to do it with as little negative impact to the community as we can. So that's really all that I have in terms of a presentation. This is where we are, and we are really on the cusp, I would say, of putting a whole lot of concrete out there for a new lock. It will look extremely different this time next year, certainly, even I'd say in the next couple of months. Austin, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, since we met last year, it's been a very successful year for us. For as harsh of a winter as we had, compared to 2 winters ago, we were very successful in demolishing the existing Sabin. We kept over 100 guys working, all winter long with over 200 some inches of snow. You look at that, and the demolition has continued to progress very well. The demolition of that Sabin lock, like Rachel said, is nearing completion. It will continue for the rest of this year. So that hoe ramming you hear will come to an end here towards the end of the season. This is definitely the year of kicking off our concrete program and constructing those new concrete monoliths. To date, we're probably over just 7,000 yards of concrete placed for concrete monolith construction, with a total goal of the year of over 75,000 yards of concrete. That's many, many more years of that to come. It'll continue to grow as we go to place more and more concrete to construct this new lock. But like Rachel said, the Davis is almost full. We're within 10 feet of topping out there, and many more other features. People-wise, I think we're at 250 craft workers working 6 days a week, 2 shifts. That number will continue to grow this season. Probably looking for another 75 workers this year. And that number will be another 100 the following year after that. And so we're a very big project, a lot more man hours to go, and been very successful. Getting these last 3 options awarded to us just confirms the mission, confirms where we're heading, and we're on schedule and on track. So I appreciate the support of both communities. It's definitely something cool to drive across the bridge and look in that monster hole. I call it our Grand Canyon of the Sioux. But the 2 tower cranes are really cool. Everybody asks, wow, those are neat. What are those for? There is a 3rd one going to be constructed this summer, so there'll be 3 in total, plus the other, I think, 7 or 9 hooks that are in the air. It's a very active site, so don't look over the bridge too much. Keep driving straight. So I know it is an easy distraction. It gets me too. So.
Thank you very much. I assume that since they're awarded, that means funding is allocated then for the rest of the project? Okay, all right, perfect. That's great news for the area. Any questions from our side or your side? Councilor Holding?
Okay. Thank you for the presentation, and it's obviously very exciting. It's a historical moment as well, and your engineering is always tremendous. You cannot miss the sandstone, that large pile of sandstone. Out of curiosity, how much sandstone was pulled out? I mean, gosh. Just hundreds of thousands. Yeah, a lot. And so you said the grand opening is going to be 2030. Is that correct?
That's when we will have traffic going through the locks.
Okay.
That's the goal. I always frame it in terms of, so Austin and his team work for a specific new lock contract. With the facility, there's always, multiple things going on, so there may be additional contracts as part of the program. But we will be capable of locking boats through in 2030. As to when the grand opening itself will be,
Okay, that's not far off, so incredible. But I know in the past, the Corps of Engineers are tremendous, so I think that you'll meet that. Just two other questions. When you say you have the largest workforce from all over the United States, is that?
No,
Okay,
we were talking like peak manpower for this construction season or job to date. This is the most manpower we've had since we commenced the new lock construction.
okay,
So we're at 250 right now. That number this year will grow to over 300.
okay.
Years beyond will exceed 400.
Okay. And I know that when we had a joint council meeting, and this was just on paper, it wasn't even like at the stage where ground was broken, there was mention about joint efforts of using skilled labor from the United States and Canada. Have you used any Canadian, just out of curiosity?
We have, yes.
That's what I
Some of our
thought.
union trade partners do have reciprocity across the border. And so we've had, minor success in doing so.
Okay.
I would welcome more.
Okay. And I also want to comment on a positive that your silt practices, the environmental practices have been outstanding. Do you want to just comment on some of the environmental practices you've employed?
Sure, I can, and I do appreciate the compliment because the river is extremely blue, right? So you see everything out there, and we're very conscious of that.
Yeah.
So that's something we take very seriously, especially when it comes to the turbidity going directly into the water. So I know that's been something that we've dedicated staff to paying attention to, and it requires constant maintenance. I know Austin hears from me all the time about the sediment
Yeah.
controls. It's part of the process.
Yeah. So again, I've noticed it, and many of my constituents have noticed it, and I just want to pass on the positive that thank you for being careful and protecting our environment, both of our environments. So well done. And I guess I look forward to hopefully a tour. Hopefully there'll be a tour someday. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Before the water goes in.
Thank you again.
Other councilors with questions on the Canadian side? Okay, seeing none.
Any on our side? So just as a thank you, I wanted to say that, the federal government sometimes gets a bad rap, and I'm a federal government employee as well. But the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is a fantastic outfit. They're very good to our community. The park that we enjoy, we have up to 500,000 visitors come through, is run by the Corps of Engineers. Obviously, the lock itself and then the lock project are two different entities, correct, within the Corps of Engineers. But they are fantastic partners, and as you can see, Rachel is just outstanding at her job, and she's very excited about it. And also, Coucil Alperici Trailer is a wonderful contractor. They've been really, really good to City of Sault Ste. Marie, and I know that Austin's always reaching out to city management, working together very well, and we've had a couple of good, they're using our city dock, which was a travesty, and they've fortified it a little bit and helped us out, and they'll leave us in better shape than when they came in. So and the West Pier as well. You saw the rock disappear, I think, out there. That was thanks to the CAT. So we really appreciate, not just the benefit of having one of the Corps' largest projects, I think, was it in the country when it was funded, or it's big. The CAT took 3 big companies to go together to actually be able to get this job. So it's wonderful for our community to have that, but to have such wonderful partners, it's really outstanding. So we appreciate it. Thank you. And Brian.
All right. Moving on to the next topic that we have. You all know them. You all love them. And without their organization, the meeting probably wouldn't have happened today. So I will turn it over to Peter from the International Bridge Authority, just to kind of give us a little update on what's going on.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you again for the invite. It is a pleasure to be here. I do have my notes on my phone, ironically enough, digitally. And I am going to throw out to the Army Corps, we do have the absolute best possible vantage point and view overlooking the lock. So we've been able to watch that entire project from start to finish as it's going, and we do welcome their photographer up every week to come up and take. So I'm actually looking forward to the time lapse of all the photos when you put it all together. It's going to be massive, but it's going to be absolutely fantastic to see. Just a very few quick updates from the bridge and the bridge perspective, keeping to the theme of partnerships. I can say that we have now finished another underwater inspection, a 5-year inspection. The underwater piers are well-maintained and in good shape. The regular inspections are coming back according to the engineers that the bridge is in good condition as well. And it is our goal to keep it that way for the benefit of both communities. Keeping to inspections, I had reported last time that we had partnered with the Blue Water Bridge with regard to our toll system. We've taken that a step further because partnership has been very good to us in Sault Ste. Marie as well as the Blue Water Bridge. We are now bundling sharing inspection services for the bridges as well. So Sault Ste. Marie, myself, the bridge administration is now responsible contractually for both the toll system as well as delivering the engineering inspections for both the Blue Water Bridge and the International Bridge in Sault Ste. Marie for the next 4 years. Modernizing fleets, snow. We all love snow. It was a rough winter for us in particular. I had to borrow some equipment from MDOT in order to keep the bridge plowed. I can say that we have now purchased 2 brand new single axle chassis, and the low bid contractually has gone to one firm on each side of the border for those 2 trucks so that both sides are getting equal benefit. And I'm going to have 2 brand new plow trucks by the end of this year in our fleet. Deck sealing. I don't know if anybody has noticed it on the Canadian approach. We did part of the Canadian approach. That was a flood coat and a friction surface to improve traction and longevity of the bridge deck. We are going to plan to finish the remainder of that this year with MDOT's assistance, and then we're going to do the U.S. approach this year as well. So the better part of 2/3 of the bridge will have brand new flood coat and friction surface with the intent of extending the deck life of the bridge. Those that crossed today may have seen some cones out on the bridge as well. Our staff is embarking on a 5 to 6 year lower U.S. arch repainting project. The intent is that we're going to potentially defer or extend the life of the paint system on the U.S. arch 10 to 15 years. If we were to do nothing, the estimate right now is a repainting of the U.S. arch at about $36 million. So we are doing our best to provide benefit to the owners in extending the life of the asset. I would say too that we are trying out new lights on the bridge. You're going to see mobile trailers. Those are radar activated, so those are going to be automated. However, they're just not going to be a time. They're actually going to detect traffic as they go up and down, so that which customers in the past have had a tendency to just ignore lights and go around. With our staff and the lights out there, this should alleviate some of that particular safety issue with traffic. I can say that we've hatched 3 baby peregrines on the U.S. Arch. I will not speak to their citizenship because they do fly back and forth, but they are in good shape and they are now flying because we've actually spotted 2 of the 3 birds out on the bridge deck itself. Everybody's welcome. Obviously, 28th of June, it's a Saturday. It's the day after Engineers Day. The Bridge Walk is back this year, and my fingers are crossed that we actually have good weather this year. It was a sincere disappointment for me to have to call it last year with the weather, but it was just a safety issue, and better safe than sorry. And then lastly, I do need to send out a very nice thank you to both MDOT and Federal Bridge, that's the Crown Corp that owns the Canadian side. It is without their support that we would continue to operate in the efficiency that we have. It's their support for the equipment, it's their support for the plowing that we were able to do this winter between the single and the tandem axle trucks, and it's their support that allowed us to purchase the new fleet equipment as well. So they are our partners, and the inspection tying that back is a great example of that and their trust. And of course, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that anybody may have as well.
Thanks, Peter. Anybody from the Sault, Michigan City Commission? Wowed us.
So Ontario, Councillor Hollingsworth.
Thank you. Always very informative. Can you just touch on 2 questions? One, I always continue to receive emails from our cyclists. Can you comment on biking across the International Bridge? I think the last time you presented to us, you were looking at some new possible safety measurements. Is there anything that our cyclists should be aware of as they cross the bridge?
So, as everybody knows, pedestrians are not allowed on the bridge. However, we still continue to allow cyclists at this time. That's still something that's under discussion with MDOT right now. We do allow it. We do strongly encourage cyclists that they wear safety gear, safety protection measures, make sure that they're lit up at night. They are in live traffic. When they get to the approaches, as you come down into Customs, they do have to stay in the queue, but on the bridge, if there is a lineup, they can actually cycle past the queue. There are signs at the abutment says bicyclists join here into the line, but there is no plans at this time to put separate bike lanes on the bridge for cyclists.
And this information can be found on your website for any cyclists that, or,
They can reach out to us through customer comment, and we would help to answer any of their questions, but yes.
okay. Great, thank you. And can you comment on your environmental practices? I know when salt is used, that you are very conscious about how to protect the environment, as one example,
So-
and painting.
So, interesting question with regard to salt, because we just did a study recently with regard to some of the sand. We do not use salt.
Okay.
There is no salt that's used on the bridge. We use solely sand, and a product called CMA, which is only for limited temperature ranges to prevent ice from forming on the bridge itself. With regard to the sand that we pull off the bridge, that's usually swept up, and if you notice, it's nice and clean. We've already been out there with the sweeper on both the bridge and the plazas this year. We remove all of the sand that we bring down. We actually had that inspected, and there was actually no salt content found within the sand. So from an environmental perspective, no salt from us in the waterways whatsoever.
Okay, great. And on behalf of Sault Ste. Marie City Council, we were happy to add to your trolls today by coming over.
It was greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, that's all.
Other members of council, questions, comments? No, saying none, thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. We appreciate that, and great job at the bridge. I did add my Port Huron Blue Water Bridge account to this account, and it works slick, just like you told me last time. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm happy to hear that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and then City Manager Chapman.
Last but not least, we just wanted to kind of go over some of the projects that we wrapped up last year or this year. There were some of the projects that we talked about last time we met, so just kind of show you that we got through with some of them. There it's up there. This is part of one of our bigger projects we had, Easterday Avenue. Originally, it was kind of like driving on the moon, but now it's a super smooth, very flat, very nice road for our community. Kind of as a side note, the first time I drove it, the bottom of my car fell out because I hit one of the potholes, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Kind of going off of some placemaking concepts that we had. So we did repaint our water tower. I think this was completed last year, but it was something that we took from being kind of a static, very boring piece of infrastructure to something that's really cool. And we, the water department, actually solicited proposals from the local community, and this was the top proposal that we had, and it's finalized. So if you look at the water tower over by the university there, we've got a great big UP there with the stars marking Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and when we were founded. So it's kind of a cool little asset for our community. Just more infrastructure project going on. That picture's not that exciting. We completed a big sidewalk project last summer as well. New ramps, new sidewalks, kind of in some key neighborhoods throughout the city. The roundabout on the business spur that sees both a lot of American and Canadian traffic. There's a local philanthropist, Dr. Tom Robinson, that is spearheading the installation of these two statues. They're about 7 foot, 8 foot, somewhere around there. And it's a Native American as well as a fur trader, and it'll be kind of right in the middle of that roundabout right there. Kind of a neat little placemaking project on that one. One of our bigger tourist items with the I-500 in the wintertime, our CVB, with partnership with the city, put in a grant a couple years ago, and the work is starting this summer. So we are reconstructing certain aspects of our I-500 track. The road is being redone. Some of the bluffs are being reshaped. There's gonna be some more buildings kind of added in there. So it's gonna be another nice venue. Our ultimate goal with the grant is to make the venue be 4 seasons, and not just a winter facility. We'll still be able to do our I-500, but we're looking at trying to bring some other stuff in there throughout the year too. Just more pictures of the bluff work being done there. Before I show this next one, this was a presentation that Mayor Don did at the for the CVB luncheon, or not the CVB, but the chamber luncheon. So these are all his pictures and memes. So Meridian Street was one big project that we got done last year. Not a super exciting project, but with the side pictures, it's kind of a fun project. So we're going to try to work on phase 2, which will be the other half of that project, probably next year or the year after. Next year, year after, unfortunately. So we got a big investment going in our wastewater treatment plant and our utilities. We're probably up to about $50 million between the 2 phases for the wastewater treatment plant and the underground infrastructure in certain areas throughout the city. We just approved some bids that came in tonight. First time under bid, actually, in a very long time. So we were excited about that. So our wastewater treatment plant really hasn't seen a major upgrade since 1986, somewhere around there. As we were showing some of the pictures tonight, a lot of the pumps are still from the 50s, the 80s, a lot of the original equipment. So we're doing a massive upgrade to our wastewater treatment plant. And then that's just some more work that we're doing, some of the utilities. So a little braggadocious moment. So speaking of waterfronts, we did complete our Carbide dock minus a few restoration items that we have to do here. So our Carbide dock is done. We're going to have a ribbon cutting here on June 29th, 27th. So I'm told. And it's great. I mean, it was one of the bigger projects that we've worked on in a long time. We've seen an uptick in some cruises over the weekend. We had the freighter that ran aground just downstream of the Sioux, used in an emergency situation. And it's just been fantastic so far. So the CDD put together this video, and there's an invite for you all if you would like to join us. It will be, it's not. Oh, there we go. If you'd like to join us for the ribbon cutting on June 27th, 10 a.m. That kind of wraps that up. So, big project, happy to have that done. Just a little restoration items there, but it's open and running. The docks or the cruise ships coming in, freighters are starting to use it, so it's a pretty good asset for us right now. So, other than that, Mr. Mayor, the mic is yours.
All right, thank you very much, City Manager. Any questions or comments from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan City Commissioners? Commissioner Bauer, sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Bauer.
When are we getting our waterfront swimming pool?
Talk to the city engineer over there. He's cowering in the corner. All we got was a big dock. We needed a swimming pool. Maybe when Coucil's done, you can make that into a pool. 2031. Anybody else?
So Ontario City Council questions? I think, Mr. Chapman, was there some assistance from the Canadian side on the wastewater plant rehabilitation?
Yeah, thank you, Carl, and thank you, it's your PUC, right? How many years, was that a couple years ago, I think, that, you want to come up and talk about it? Was it last year? Okay. I know the mayor graciously arranged for a tour for, how many of us were there? Quite a few. Took, I think, a half a day or more and gave us a tour of both of the wastewater treatment plants prior to the initial engineering or planning for our plant so that they could get a look at the different types of treatment that you do. And we stuck to our same guns, I guess, with the treatment that we have, but we appreciated the work. And I think that you came over too to tour ours, or somebody did?
We were working on it, but I think it just kind of fell.
But it's a great example of, you know, how we can partner across the river. You are a much larger city and have, with your treatment plants, a lot more technology than we had, but we're gonna pass you with this one.
There's a joke about the amount of wastewater coming from here in there somewhere, but I'll let it slide.
Yeah, but thank you very much. It was great, and we appreciate the cross-border cooperation, so. Anybody else have any comments?
Councillor Hollingsworth?
Sure.
Thank you. Going back to the dock, with regards to the cruise ships, when did you actually start that project? How long did it take that to complete?
So we had to shut down our former dock in 2017.
Okay.
And we had to rope it off because we were getting large sinkholes. It was collapsing underneath. It was an old structure, just built of pilings and a concrete cap with no reinforcements or anything else. And I think we had divers come up and look at it. And so that was done for public safety, and then started looking for financing. And it took this long to get to that point. I don't know, what year did we actually start the project as far as scratching dirt?
Money came in 2018.
Okay.
We actually started doing the design in 2020.
And the first shovel turned over
2021.
end of 2021.
End of 2020.
It wasn't a big shovel, but a shovel. It was a shovel.
So
yeah.
we, the city went after a U.S. Department of Transportation grant. And the initial engineer's estimates were, what, 17 million or somewhere in that range?
Yeah, 17 million.
And,
21 million from the feds.
yeah. And so the project total completed is what, 40?
38.6 million.
Okay. So, everybody in Michigan and our federal partners duck when they see us coming because they are tired of hearing the words carbide dock. Because the city engineering and administration have been vigorously looking for gap financing, and we almost lost the initial financing, but this administration came in and engineering were able to save it and revitalize it, even though that program was defunct, I guess, or changed greatly at the federal level. And we don't have the list, but we have U.S. Department of Transportation money in there, we have MDOT money in there, we have MEDC money in there, we have DNR money there, Sault Ste. Marie General Fund money, we have just, I don't know, a dozen different pots of money, I think, and state appropriation, right? And we toured our federal legislators there, our state legislators, and anybody that would listen to us. So it was a tough project, and they really worked hard to get it there. And you know, we're proud of what the city has done, and the administration, and especially engineering staff has done to
Absolutely.
get this project done. So.
And Absolutely, and you talk about the cruise ships, but you made a good point that a freighter needed it.
Yeah.
And you never know with the new lock, and as, freighters are going through, there could be emergencies. So it's good to have that solid, safe dock.
Sure.
Heaven forbid if there's any other emergencies in the future, so
that's-
there's many reasons for it.
And that's why we got a lot of the Department of Transportation money, because that was part of the initial plan, because we are on a water highway. So we got Michigan highway money, we got federal highway money, and, that's part of the intent. The design of the dock is pretty cool because it's got the commercial aspect, because we can put a crane on the pad down there and we could unload freighters as well.
Okay.
Not coal though, thank you, but we did that once, didn't turn out real good. A little dusty.
Yeah.
But we can load and unload freighters from that site, and that's where we get our road salt for the winter.
But not for the bridge.
And then we have the other area that is open for fishing. It's a great fishing
Yeah.
spot for the community, and it's the front yard of the Center for Freshwater Research, Education, or Excellence. But so it's a multi-purpose area for us.
Two last quick questions. So the size of the dock can allow more than one ship? What's the
That one took
length?
just about the whole frontage, but I think, is it designed to squeeze a 1,000-footer in there?
Yeah, the 1,000
Okay.
footer, it's 750 feet at the front, but then we have 350 feet on the angle. So, yeah, we can fit the big freighters. Actually, it's all designed for a big freighter that's fully loaded to come in if they have an emergency or whatever, so it's all set up for that.
And it has all sanitary facilities, so it has water, it has sewer, it has electric for someday when they have electric-fueled ships. I think it'll
Yeah.
be able to carry that
Amazing.
capacity. And then the cruise ships are using it for every other means, and it has bus loop in there to get them out, so.
That's
And the
wonderful.
customs can clear there, we have that issue too, so.
That's great. And
thank
thank you. My final comment, the Clover, this is not, sorry to say this, but the Cloverdale generating plant is very historical. When the dock was being built, obviously you wanted to make sure that that particular power plant was not disturbed. And may I suggest in the future, can we have a presentation on the history of that power plant and the future, especially structurally? It's amazing after more than 100 years, and it's still solid, so.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful.
If I may suggest that.
And actually, if we could get a group outing, I bet we could get a tour of it if you'd like to go inside. It's a phenomenal.
please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really amazing.
Yeah. And all due respect, thank you very much.
Sure, sure. Tomorrow? We'd love to arrange a tour for you, though.
I'll just note, since we're mentioning the hydroelectric dam designed by Francis Clerk, of course, who founded the steel plant, the paper mill, and the hydroelectric mill on our side as well, so, and the ACR. So an entrepreneur of both sides of the border. Councilor Bruni?
Aside from engineering services, it was 2.5 million. What? 9%. I think it was the 2.5 million we had to take out of the general fund for the final.
Pretty close. I think it was 1.7 million.
Okay, so 9%. Yep.
Thank you, Councilor Bruni. Other councilors? That's pretty good ratio of funding to general revenues.
It took a long time and a lot of work. Yeah.
We had a coupon.
Yeah. And we got 7 bridges we'll sell you if you want to go with the Clerg thing over our power canal. So at this time in the meeting, we open it up to see if there's anybody in the public that would like to make any comments. So is there anybody in the public that would like to make any comments at this time? Seeing none, matters presented by City Commission, U.S. or Canadian.
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Council.
it is great to be here. I'll let you open it, but there's a business person on the Canadian side who has a cross-border business activity that's slowed down, so in his additional time, he's made the Stronger Together Allies and Friends hats
I call it a big, beautiful hat. But I thought it'd be a perfect gift to embody today's meeting.
That's perfect. We thank you very much. Stronger together, allies and friends. Very nice. Very nice. And you got your own little mark in there. Much appreciated. So any commissioner comments at all? Council comments? Commissioner Habusta.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the time allotted to me. I just want to echo the sentiments of our mayor, who are both our mayors, who said it far more eloquently than I ever will. And to our Canadian neighbors, thank you for being here today. Our role as council members and commissioners in our Twin Cities is even more important today than when many of us were elected, as we navigate the tension between our federal governments. I appreciate our mayoral support of the group of border city mayors, and I want you all to know we are committed to raising our voice to our elected leaders. One small example is that both Mayor Gary and I serve on Michigan's Subnational Diplomacy Committee as the only committee with two elected officials, only community with two elected officials on the committee. Today was the most important. If our concern is truly rooted in the need to end division, showing up with one another and for one another, working together and showing that we are what we can accomplish is paramount to sending a clear and convincing message. We work together. So thank you for helping us send that message today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem Bauer.
Your Honor, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported, all in favor say aye.